What is up, everybody? Sorry about that. Didn't quite realize we were live just yet. Today's going to be super chill. This is a live stream from March 6th of this year, and it seems to be much more interesting considering the information put out by Richard Allen's defense team recently in regards to the Delphi double homicide. So we are kind of going down that rabbit hole a little bit. For me, it stems from the Stevenson case and that being kind of brought up in relation to the Delphi case around that same time. I think the day before we aired this live stream in March, we actually covered the Stevenson case. What's up, Kevin? So I'm just going to kind of relax, sit back, watch this with you guys. We might stop and go here and there, but for the majority of this, I'm going to be in the chat with you guys hanging out. So we'll give it about 10 minutes and then we'll get going. So if you're part of the replay crew, just go ahead and skip 10 minutes from now and we'll be rocking and rolling. What's up, Jamie, D, Sweets, and Kevin? What's going on, guys? Hope you're having a great morning. And then I'll take you along for a ride also. After this live stream, about a week later, the comments started kind of pouring in. And there was a very interesting comment left. And we're going to kind of follow that. After we watch this live stream, we're going to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Yeah, I just wanted to replay this to kind of show everybody who's been kind of criticizing me in my comments recently. Not that it bothers me, but I think it's fair that you guys have a fair understanding of what I'm trying to do with my channel. We try to go down every path we can. We try to look at every theory, every angle. We play a lot of devil's advocate. And really, we're trying to do our best with the evidence that we have. That's not easy, considering we really haven't seen anything. So it's strange to me to see people come to a conclusion when they have nothing to go on. It seems reckless, but unfortunately that jury's going to be filled with probably a couple people like that as well. So we know the defense wants to bring the cameras into the Delphi case so that they can basically put on a show, and they don't care if they drag anybody through the mud. They could care less, because they want to try to paint this picture that that's what the prosecution's doing to Richard Allen, right? If they can run him through the mud, the defense is saying, well, we can run these people through the mud. He's innocent. And if you're saying they're innocent, well, it's kind of like mental warfare. What's up, Sweets? Brown Skittle, what's going on? Good. What's up, Cheeks? Glad you can make it. Speculation, what up? Mandy, how you doing? And Jamie, rabbit hole, you say? Indeed, I do. Excuse me. I had carrots and hummus for breakfast. And a small cup of coffee. Marbles, good to see you. Yvonne, what's up? Freckled Joy, how are you? Welcome. Exactly. A couple jurors with the eyes wide shut mentality. The human factor. It's so random. Because you have contrarians, they just want to go against the grain. They don't care whether it's right or wrong. I have those tendencies. I don't want to move with the flock. Trailblazer. Want to make my own way. It was yummy. Ooh, oatmeal pancakes? That sounds bomb. So it wasn't really my breakfast. It was just my old crap I didn't eat. And I don't want to feel hungry during this live stream I'm about to do. So let me go ahead and munch on some carrots and hummus real quick. Karen's asking, how would BP's sister know Kathy Allen? Well, they both live in Delphi, and I think they were both in the bar scene. Like, I don't understand why people look into that so much. It's not like it's a picture of Becky Patty with Kathy Allen. No, this is a picture of two people that are often in the bar scene, which is not very big. I think there's like 3 bars you can go to. They probably went to all 3 of them each night. And Anna worked at one of those bars at that very moment as well. Have you seen Delphi? I mean, it's very possible. It's big enough of it's like a big enough little city that there are people that you won't know. But if you're out at the bars, and there's only 3, I think. You're bound to run into each other. Now, if this was a photo that was inside of a home, and let's say it was like a family gathering or a holiday, yeah, I'd be like, hey, we need to look into this. There's definitely a connection here. But you can tell that they're at a bar. Almost every photo that I see of Richard Allen or Kathy Allen, they're in a bar, right? So it's not like fancy meeting you here. It's like if you want to go to the bar, there's really only one choice. And hate? Geez, sweets, that's rough. Say it with me. Today will be a great day. I will kill it. And anyone who gets in my way. What's going on, Donna? All right, guys, we're coming up on the 10-minute mark. I haven't rewatched this yet, but I've gotten about 6 emails about this since the defense team dropped that whole ritual sacrifice theory. And I don't even know if they're using the word Norse, but they used the term Odinism, which is kind of like a mix between Norse mythology and like white supremacy, I guess. I'm still learning a lot about the ins and outs of it all. It's very complicated, really. Yeah, the garlic is really good. Roasted red pepper is really good. What I've been eating for lunch is like chicken. I'll cook chicken on like a Foreman grill, dice it up, throw it in a wrap. I'll put a layer of hummus all over the tortilla. It'll be like one of those carb-friendly ones or whatever. And then I'll lay down a whole bunch of spinach, sprinkle the chicken over the top, and then take some Tabasco sauce, give it a couple little squirts. Then I'm good to go. All right, here we go, guys. Let me. I probably need to skip the intro. Which seems to have turned up some talk of the Wiccan religion. You
Let
guys
me
know
go
anything
back a little bit.
just like that?
There we go.
What's up, Bobby?
It should be interesting to read all these comments from March of 2023. Let's see if all the trolls were nice back then.
What is up, everybody?
They're
Just like
always
that,
nice
we
at the
are
beginning.
live. Saturday, March 4th, 2023.
Oh, March 4th.
Technically, we are in the future.
Wow, that was a premonition.
I am doing well, thank you. Hey, what's up, Shay? From the cornfields. All right. You guys ready to get into some shenanigans? So, recently we've been covering the Stevenson case and its relation to
Thanks, sweets.
possible connection to the
First step is vocalizing it, seeing it in your mind. Next step is the easiest. It'll just happen now.
Delphi case, which it's turning out either there is none. I mean, obviously, it appears that there is no connection, but we can still learn and find insight through their curiosity, which seems to have turned up some talk of the Wiccan religion. You guys know anything about that? We have any practitioners in the house? Fire in the bowl.
Indy, fire in the ball.
You know it. Hail from the cornfield. So the way I look at it is every religion is going to have its bad apple, right? But I haven't heard a lot of. I know witchcraft gets mistaken for Satanism quite often, but I've never really heard of something specifically relating to the Wiccan religion left at a crime scene. Well, I guess other than a pentagram. Emily says, I'm a witch, but not Wiccan. How's that? I thought that's what makes you a witch. Everyone I have ever known who gets into that stuff is weird as fuck, man. Yeah, that's kind of going to be the conversation. Are certain religious interests prone to certain types of crime? And I'm not talking like on a jihad. I just mean with these types of crime, like true crime, maybe serial murder, sadist murders, Godsmack. Interesting. So one thing I've gathered is that it is definitely a pagan. I just mean with these types of crime, like true crime, maybe serial murder, sadist murders, Godsmack. Interesting.
Jinx. My mom was into all
So
that
one
shit.
thing I've gathered is that it is
Who would've
definitely
guessed?
a pagan. But we're going to talk about a few different religions. But the reason why we're having this conversation today
What up,
is
Ruckus?
because it's kind of branching off of what we've been talking about, which is ritualistic crime scenes, staging, and things like that. Beach says people just making up their own little things based off of Wicca when they know nothing about it or the history. Yeah, I tried to learn a little bit about it. I've read about it a little bit here and there.
I was hoping we had some people in the chat who could help a little bit with educating us and correcting us and kind of sheepdogging us in the right direction. Beach Fairy says, true Wiccans value life. The Unsolved. Psychologically speaking, I feel like most people who get real deep into religion are hiding from something in them in the first place. Yeah, it could be. I'm not a big believer in religion. But I also understand where you're coming from. You can't run from yourself. I think that's a Bob Marley song. You keep on running and you're running and you're running away. Not all witches are
That's the
Wiccan, but
jam.
all nature, paganism, peaceful. Okay, so not Wiccan, but pagan is what you're telling me. But I thought the word witch comes from the word Wiccan.
Brown Skittle.
See,
I'm an
I'm
herbalist.
ignorant to all this, honestly.
So I'm singing Bob Marley songs, apparently.
Moloch, the owl god. Isn't that from the Bohemian Grove? Tax Cut. I'm pretty sure Tax Cut is Alex Jones. I'm convinced at this point. That's cool. I'm still not doing so good, so I can't think ahead, but I can probably answer questions you have. Oh, okay. Well, let's start here. Now, to me, this definition from the dictionary, it was the first thing that popped up on Google, and I had to share it. You guys hang right there. I'm going to go grab a cerveza, but I'll let you take a look at this here. This doesn't seem right.
The practice of magic, especially
Hold
for
that thought.
evil purposes? Is that, I mean, to an uneducated person like me, that sounds right. You know, witches are evil. The use of spells. Children are goods were believed to be vulnerable to the witchcraft of jealous neighbors. Now, let me speed this up. Apparently, I went and grabbed a beer.
Languages, witchcraft.
Oh, let me go back.
A case to V.Society. Their experts said it appeared killers were trying to make it look ritualistic, but was not done properly. So maybe to mislead,
Wouldn't hurt speculation.
or maybe they just weren't good at it.
I mean,
Okay, so
Wicca
according
is
to this
pagan,
here dictionary from
right?
Oxford Languages, witchcraft, the practice of magic, especially for evil purposes, the use of spells, and this is in quotations, children and goods were believed to be vulnerable to the witchcraft of jealous neighbors.
Yeah, I don't trust Bible thumpers either Freckles.
Religious practice involving magic.
I'm a Christian and I
with
pray to
nature,
Jesus, but
usually within a
Bible
pagan
thumpers,
tradition.
yeah. I think anybody that is kind of up in their head, you know, oh, I'm highly educated. You got to be careful for those people.
Or fascinating attraction or charm.
The warlock of weed.
That just doesn't seem right.
True crime and other stuff says
CJK,
I've
what's up?
studied
My weird
Wicca and
ex
other religions
is
on my
Wiccan,
own.
or
A
was.
single
Don't
practitioner?
keep in touch. Into candles and spells, all for good. He'd say, yet he sure
All right,
didn't put
Julia.
a spell on himself to
Go
pay
put that
child
in the
support.
member's choice right now.
Yikes.
I know a lot about Bohemian Grove.
Maybe there's a certain spell
And
for that.
Moloch. And the Illuminati. Dun dun dun.
Oops, wrong button.
Yeah. And it can be done. I've seen it done.
Okay, so I found something. Let's see. The links to everything that we're going to watch today, everything's in the description. So if you want to go back, or we didn't cover everything in its entirety, or if you just want to look at it yourself, everything is there. But I think this is a good place to start. This is, to me, a healthy dose of the Wiccan religion here. This is how I perceive it. Let me just make sure I'm sharing my audio here.
You witches, it's a pretty popular costume, but
That is facts, Ruckus. It's a telltale sign. We call them red flags.
All right. Your Best Life with Leslie Dreyfus.
you witches, it's a pretty popular costume. But for an entire group of people, including many in Central Texas, witchcraft is a way of life. In this week's Your Best Life, I sit down with a local woman who says being a witch makes her feel like a truly empowered woman. Between the candles, the books, the signs, artifacts, and not one but two black cats, it's easy to tell when you're inside Michelle Morris's Colleen home that a witch lives here.
I think she talks about
Morris is an eclectic
mythology.
pagan.
The Unsolved says, I feel like a lot of people blame crap on religion when it's typically their own poor behavior, and they use religion as their excuse. 100%.
And practicing witch.
True,
She's also
true.
the high priestess and leader of Fort Hood Open Circle, a non-denominational pagan congregation that's been a recognized religious organization on post for more than 20 years.
We have a lot of just eclectic pagans. We also have a lot of Norse pagans. It is definitely not as uncommon as people think.
Morris says not all members of the group are witches, but she's seen more and more young women identify as witches in recent years.
Sometimes I wonder if it's more like about spells, because a lot of what these religions or these beliefs have in common is you can cast spells.
Being a witch, identifying as a witch, has always, throughout all of recorded history, been a position of self-empowerment in a world that denied equal humanity. They have a deity that looks like them. They can relate in a spiritual way to a mother figure rather than being limited to only a father figure.
So
What's up with that big ass knife, though? Do you see that? Look. You notice that? Like, what do you need this big knife for?
Yeah, what is that all
That's the one
about?
thing I don't
It's
understand.
like,
There's
why?
always like a big ass blade, or
Yeah, what do you need a big ass sharp weapon?
can you guys see that?
It's always like there, like
Like, what do
the
you need a blade for?
sacrifice is always like there, right beneath the surface.
There's always like a blade or an axe or some kind of sword.
To only a father figure.
So what's it mean to actually practice witchcraft?
It is either a personal practice that is generally done for personal empowerment, or it can be a spirituality that would fall under the umbrella of paganism, and they may or may not do magic.
And what is witchcraft not?
It's not devil worship. That's probably the biggest question and the biggest misconception.
In my
out there.
opinion, it is.
Interestingly enough,
They just
the
don't know
devil's
it.
a Christian creation. We don't
But that's
have
my
one.
opinion.
Can anyone be a witch?
Anyone can be a witch. It's a self-identification. You can be a witch as a practitioner and follow a different spirituality entirely. We have Christian witches, we have Buddhist witches, we have Catholic witches. It happens all the time.
Catholic?
What about
That's
spells?
crazy.
I like to make the analogy that spells are very similar to prayers. They're
Spells.
all energy and intent.
And how
Spells
about
are
magic?
nothing like
Is it
prayers. What the? See, this is totally crazy.
real?
Absolutely, just like miracles are real. Personally, I've seen and been a part of things that can't be explained by natural law and science. But I think a more important conversation is maybe start normalizing the fact that nobody questions when a Christian says miracles are real, But if a witch says magic is real, we get looked at like maybe we have two heads when we're talking about the same sort of belief in something that's inexplicable and bigger than we are.
So, should people be afraid of witches? Morris says absolutely not.
We're not out to try and convert your children.
What
to
you doing
drag
with
your
that big old
teenagers into
knife, yo?
witchcraft. We just want to be allowed to do and enjoy the same freedoms that Christians take for granted.
So there you have it, straight from the witch's mouth. Fort Hood Open Circle hosts
Straight from the
classes once
witch's
a week,
mouth.
and they celebrate 8 other
That's not a knife.
pagan holidays a year, including Samhain, which is this Saturday. You can find out more details.
All right. Well, I don't know. Something
That's funny speculation. I do the exact same thing.
about pagans and heathens and all of that. You know, anything that goes against, like, I guess, Christ. To me, it could be considered satanic. Because to me, satanic and pagan.
I
are the
agree with
same.
that. They don't have to agree with
But
it.
that's just my weird views. But I'm not like a judgmental person,
Hey, I agree with my March self.
and I don't want to single out any religion or
I like this guy. He makes a
anything like
little
that.
bit of sense sometimes.
That's why we're going to talk about a few different strange things from some other religions, including Christianity.
The unsolved.
The unsolved.
He's always his little microaggressions or whatever.
Well, you
you
can't
call 'em.
offend anybody that's already offended. It's just called being triggered. It's like a zombie, you know, you're like walking,
Trigger.
and then they hear like the living, and they're like,
Instead of brains, it's like trigger.
they're like triggered. Ah, we got action.
It's pretty good, March Sleuth. Pretty good. That's his name, March Sleuth. Or me from the past. Hey, look, Jinx is back,
So,
and she was
there's
nice.
some people that will say, yeah, it is satanic, but then Satanism isn't bad. And then you have some people that get into Satanism because they want to lean to the darker side. But there's a dark side. I think the point of today's stream is there's a dark side to everything. You know what I mean? No matter what it is.
Ray, I knew it.
Indy says that the unsolved, please don't leave. I'm not Wiccan. It's okay if you are. I was hoping that video would like kind of clear everything up, but we're not being prejudiced. Olivia says, is what I also believe. However, I will listen to other beliefs. Yeah, because
Weed
to
church?
be honest, like there's nothing new under the sun, right? If you want to talk about a Christian saying, that's right from the Bible. So it doesn't matter what you do or what you believe in. The only thing, it's all ego, you know. So maybe it's all Satanism. I just know any Wiccan or witchcraft person I've been around has issues with 99% of certainty. That's anecdotal. But yeah.
Oh, March Sleuth was using big words. I don't even know what that
Beatrice
means.
says we can all have different opinions on most things. Just be nice to people. There you go. It's a key word. Just be nice. Haven't you ever seen Roadhouse? Would have been perfect if I had that clip right now.
Be nice. He says, "Go after your mother."
Telling
be nice.
The bouncers, you know, like just be cool. Be nice. Whatever you do, be nice. What if he tells you to go after your mom or something? Or no, your mom's a whore or something like that. And he, Patrick Swayze goes, is she? What a fucking good movie.
Good
Just
one.
be nice.
Good one, March Sleuth.
Until it's time
Not very
to
good
be
at
nice.
storytelling, but we'll work on that.
He's showing off his diploma on
What's
his
up, Dawn?
Facebook page. Who's that?
Unsolved has Don
So here's
Spain
the
blocked.
question:
What?
if religious symbolism is any kind of any kind was found in Delphi, was it to send a message or was it to confuse investigators? And was it Alan who left there or someone else? I don't know. We got to find out. Devil's in the detail, right?
It's a good question by the Unsolved. That's what he said here. This is what March Unsolved said. So here's the question. If religious symbolism of any kind was found in Delphi, was it to send a message? Or was it to confuse investigators? And was it Alan who left it there for someone else? See, now that's a good question. Especially with the information we have now. You know, what if there was some kind of secret relationship going on between Alan and one of these victims here, Abby or Libby? A lot we don't know. Or maybe he had an obsession. And let's play devil's advocate here. If he has an obsession with, let's say, Abby, and I only say Abby because Abby had a boyfriend whose father was Brad Holder who was into that shit. And I even think all his boys were. They like followed his lead, it seems. Which is good, right? If he's not a bad man. So, but yeah, if there was some kind of secret relationship going on and it had something to do with Logan Holder, Abby's boyfriend at the time, maybe he could have been trying to say something to them or maybe even try to frame them. You know, it was right by Valentine's Day, was the following day.
First of all, I think there was symbolism because we know that in the Stevenson case, before the detective started flip-flopping, he mentioned that there was symbols left at the scene. And why were they interested in the Wiccan
Coy Cox,
community?
the flip-flopper.
You know, they were looking for leads, connections. And the symbol was probably most likely related to that. Because there's a large number of people throughout the world that believe that Christianity is just another pagan religion, you know? Like the zeitgeist, I guess you could call it. My mom is Wiccan and I'm just a hippie. It's not satanic, but more worshiping nature. Yeah, it's pagan. I think anything pagan.
March
could be
Jinx was
considered
nice. Look, she
satanic,
communicated
but
like a
then some
normal
would
person.
Say that maybe satanic is also misconstrued. What's that? The satanic panic? Never assume. All right, where do I want to go with this? Oh, yeah, we can go right here.
Saying some.
Okay. We've actually covered this story before, but this is a good example of somebody.
Yeah, exactly, Brown Skill.
Killing in the name of Christ, I guess. In a battle against demons.
Blast from the past.
But he's completely out of his mind.
Willow. Oh, this is interesting. Check this shit out.
To kill.
Do you have any remorse?
Not when you're doing it for God.
Where are you going now, heaven or hell?
I'm going to heaven.
Stanley Mossberg will stand before a judge tomorrow. Deputies caught him very early this morning after they say he killed 2 people inside a Winter Haven home. Mossberg is also suspected of killing someone earlier this month in Tennessee. ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska was live on the scene just last night.
Tonight he's at the sheriff's office where Mossberg said he is a prophet, not a serial killer. Michael?
That's the defense's
Jameson,
argument,
Wendy,
right? This reminds me of Richard Allen's defense. He's not a serial killer. He's a prophet.
Jameson, Wendy, an extremely bizarre exchange happened out here for about a minute and a half. We were able to question
What's up, EL?
Mossberg. He didn't deny he killed anyone. In fact, he offered us a motive, saying that he had to kill people to build an army for God.
Okay, so
Makes
what
sense.
if the Delphi suspect? What if he just happened to be out of his mind at that specific moment? You know what I mean? And he was doing something really strange like this. What do you guys think about that?
You have anything to say, Stanley?
Y'all will see God, and there's going to be a angels and demons fight from God.
An angels and
Angels
demons,
and demons
fight from God.
God? What does that mean?
He said there's going to be an angels and demons fight from God. This dude's out of his mind.
Angels and demons fight. Damn it. Did I stutter? Angels and demons fight from God.
For real.
Come on.
Who you rolling with, homie?
Everybody will see.
Stanley
You'll
Mossberg
see.
says he killed 3 innocent people because he is a prophet. 1 man in Tennessee, 2 others inside this Winter Haven home.
Yeah,
I'm doing
he's
what
out of his
God tells me
mind.
to do.
Mossberg made these comments.
Okay, so this guy, I have a feeling he's hearing like audible voices.
Yeah. I kind of
Okay,
already
now
knew a
what
lot
if,
about it.
let's say there's these murders that happen and the guy's kind of beside himself, but there's nobody around to catch him. He kind of comes to and is like, whoa, what happened? Like in this case, let's say for whatever reason he wandered off into the woods, snapped out of it, doesn't even really remember doing it. Kind of does, knows he did it when he sees it in the news, but there's no way to tie him. He doesn't know why. He was out of his mind. So the motivation is like unknown to everybody, even the perpetrator.
Hours after Polk County deputies nearly knocked down a home in Winter Haven to arrest him. Sheriff Grady Judd says Mossberg fired at deputies throughout the night.
Grady.
Just around the corner, forensic teams were documenting the inside of a horrific crime scene. 2 innocent people tied up, then stabbed to death. The homeowner walked in on this murder spree. He was held
Warriors.
hostage overnight, then escaped.
Come out
He
to
seemed to be in decent
play.
spirits for what he went through,
Around 6 p.m. Monday, Bob Strauss says his next-door neighbor, Thomas Cole, banged on his door for help.
He was frantic. We didn't believe what he was telling us right off.
Strauss and
Imagine that. Imagine, okay, you run to your neighbor and you're like, look, a crazy man claiming to be a prophet just killed 2 of my family members. And you're like, dude, you're obviously on meth.
Like, there's no way you would believe that.
I mean, how do you believe something like that? It's not real. But it is real.
other neighbors
That's the
now
part
helping
that
watch
bugs
Cole's
me the
home,
F out,
his
guys.
animals,
It's
and
like,
trying
it's
to
so
clean
hard
up
to
the
fathom.
terrors that
But
happened
these
inside
cases
this
are
home,
real.
unimaginable. Can you just tell our viewers about the reality of what this man is coming home to?
This is a normal dude.
I can't even imagine it. I don't know if I'd be able to go in.
At last check, that lone survivor was still at the hospital. Strauss asking the community to rally behind his neighbor of nearly 2 decades, a cancer survivor with a tough road ahead.
GoFundMe, please help. He has no money. He has no car. He has no support. Only his neighbors that are very supportive.
Yeah, I agree, Cheeks. I'm not convinced yet either.
And Mossberg showed no remorse tonight. He
2
goes
to 3
in front of a judge
signatures.
first thing tomorrow. We're live here in front of the Polk County Sheriff's Office. Michael Paluska, ABC.
Saying someone told him.
Crazy. Emily Froner, witchcraft crap. Yeah, some of these cases were. Let's see. Here's another one. This is an article. Like I said, everything's linked in the description. If you want to go, if we don't read all of it, I'm going to try to read all of these. Try not to rush through.
I don't think I had my light on.
This was published January 13th, 2015, Fox News.
Yeah, it really is selfish, huh?
Beach Fairy says Richard Allen displayed his ritualistic behavior in that type of mental health way. Well, I don't know.
Like a
I
fantasy
don't know
way,
what
Beach Fairy?
role Richard Allen played in the murders. If they're suspecting others, I'm assuming that has to do with the DNA.
Okay, did you guys hear what I said there? I'm not sure what role Richard Allen played in this. Here, let's just rewind it for all those people who like to leave me strange comments just because I'm exploring the Richard Allen lone wolf theory. They go bananas about that. It's because it's the most plausible, in my opinion.
Try not to rush through. This was published January 13th, 2015, Fox News.
Des Moines.
Beach Fairy says Richard Allen displayed his ritualistic behavior in that type of mental health way. Well, I don't know. I don't know what role Richard Allen played in the murders. If they're suspecting others, I'm assuming that has to do with the DNA. So I'm not exactly sure what his role is or why he was motivated. For all I know, he was surprised by the killer. Like I didn't know we were coming here to do all this weird shit.
Right. And that's what the defense is trying to say. That Brad Holder and this Patrick Westphal guy are fighting because of that.
Contradict that.
You see that?
Non-secular.
See how simple that theory is?
So we could just be dealing with some person who is personally radicalized or a specific group that has been radicalized. Could be a mixture of their own beliefs. We saw with Charles Manson. He had a whole group of killers with him, and they just believed what he told them to believe. They believed him. So, but unlike these killers, like in the Stevenson and the Delphi case, Charles Manson was 100 a lifelong criminal. So he would have had his DNA all over the place. These killers seem to be somebody who was just may appear to be normal. And then I think in my profile, which is completely uneducated, by the way, with no experience,
it could be
law enforcement background.
Let's read this comment here by Brown Skittle. I do think Richard Allen was in some kind of mental crash. Maybe he actually does have schizophrenia, and he was having some kind of episode, voices telling him to kill, etc. I mean, knowing what we know now, that could be possible, right? Chewing on paper, appearing to be going through an episode while in jail. Yeah, so it could be.
But would appear to be somebody who has a connection to the underworld, but they themselves may live more of a regular life. You guys ever seen the movie Mr. Brooks? I wouldn't say to that extent, but that's a movie, of course. I'm just saying something along those lines. Snoopsy, what's up? That real Christian who follows Jesus would murder. Well, not only that, but Judaism.
What about the story of Abraham?
You had some people willing to kill their own son for God, only to be stopped at the very last minute. It's like, what if you weren't stopped, bro? You know what I mean?
Thank you, sweet.
Schizophrenics or mentally unstable hear voices. Yeah, audible voices they think are God, and of course it's not. Hey, what's up, Cold Truth? I knew somebody would catch it. Yeah, Grady is the man.
Shout out to Mel.
Good one, Mel.
I think we're on the same wavelength.
I knew someone that was into devil worship. Then she turned Christian and she thought I would like the books. I said, no way. And she was shocked. She used to put spells on people. Well, that's what Wiccans do. They they do spells and
Magic.
little rituals, and of course some people
I think
it's
that's the part they
harmless.
have in
Some
all these
people
pagan
might be mixing
religions have in common are spells,
beliefs and
magic.
I don't know. Some people just kind of take the dark parts of everything because in their heart they have a dark heart. What's up, Jamie?
Yeah, Joey, for real. That's how they get away with it.
Yeah, the unsolved. I'm barely recovering from that damn thing. Finally, like losing all that weight, getting the muscle back.
Brown Skittle says, I was very surprised that Barbara McDonald hasn't taken Ron Logan off the table. No, she's pushing the Ron Logan narrative, but she's not saying that he's the guy on the bridge. So I'm not opposed to Ron Logan being involved. I just can't get behind it because I don't see that. There's plenty of things that you could stack, like him trying to come up with an alibi, this, and that. But I've already seen evidence that he did that prior to this crime ever happening. When he was pulled over for a DUI, he attempted to put somebody in the driver's seat that was not him. And that's the very same thing that he did in this case. He just wanted somebody else in that driver's seat. That's all he needed, and he wouldn't have spent potentially 3 years in prison as a habitual offender. So he was motivated to have an alibi other than participating in the crime. So that is very suspicious, and I definitely believe that it is probable cause for the search warrant, but they didn't find anything. So there's nothing other than that. And that's why he was never arrested. So that's why it's hard for me to accuse the man. Is he the guy on the bridge? I'm about 99.9% sure that it's not him, but I really can't say for sure. But it's the complete opposite for Richard Allen. I'm 99.9% sure it is him.
I feel really good. All right, let's go ahead and jump into this case here.
See, that's what that lady said at the beginning of the stream. She said spells are like prayers. And I don't agree with that. It's not the same thing.
Here. This is out of Des Moines, Iowa.
Because me personally, I don't ask for anything, It's more like I'm giving like gratitude, really. I'm not trying to accomplish anything. I'm just being gracious. I'm not trying to achieve power or money or fame or anything like that, right? I'm just saying I know you're out there and I'm very grateful.
Or Des Moines, as some would say. A man has been charged with the stabbing and strangulation murder of his two stepdaughters in what police are calling a spell gone bad.
Do you do spells?
Sioux City,
do you
Iowa
do magic
home,
though?
Lawrence
I'm not saying
Douglas
it's
Harris
bad.
Sr., who
Each
was
to his
charged
own.
with 2 counts of first-degree murder after authorities arrived at his burning home and found the girls in their second-story bedroom in blood on Harris, police said Monday. So I thought it was strange, the burning home. Police Lieutenant Marty Riley said Harris had been performing some strange ritual and told officers he cast a spell that had gone bad. Riley said he could offer no other details on how the girls were killed. The victims include Kendra Sewing, who was 10, and her sister Alicia Sewing, who was 8, whose bodies were found Sunday afternoon. An official cause of death wouldn't be available for several days, Riley said. And this is in quotations. You're talking about people casting spells gone bad, Sioux City Police Chief Joe Frisbee said at a Monday press conference, according to Sioux City Journal. Obviously, there is a lot more going on here than straightforward homicide. That's kind of how we feel about the Delphi case, right? obviously there's a lot more going on here than straightforward homicide. Same with
Let's stop real quick and go to this comment by Julia Burns. I'm really curious if there's more to the Ron Logan theory. I've never thought he was involved. The only thing that got me curious is that Barbara, FBI, has gone with that narrative. Well, Barbara has a lot more information, and there's some channels that do cover it, mostly in their members only live streams. But Barbara interviewed a man who was apparently, and this is all hearsay, right? This man was apparently locked up with Ron Logan, and in the middle of the night, he said Ron Logan would be on the floor, basically playing with himself and talking about providing crime scene details and speaking about Abby and Libby, kind of like reliving it in his mind. This is the story this guy told. I believe he told it directly to Barbara McDonald or wrote her a letter or something. So that is why she leans towards Ron Logan, because she has a little bit of this inside information and she must believe this convict. Why she would, I have no clue. And the only explanation is, right, we all have our own theories. And when you find something that kind of backs that theory up, you lean on it real heavy. I think it's a mistake. It's a mistake that I've made and I'll probably make again. But it is 100% a mistake to believe this man who is highly motivated to lie.
Stevenson case, right? And that's why they were interested or were trying to make a connection, or why even a tipster may have made a connection.
I agree with that
Digital says
100%. Gil.
Oddfellows, Masons, Odins do ritualistic things at their meetings. And yeah, you could have a large chunk of a group, everything is normal. They have no clue of what's going on. And then you have this sect, a group of maybe that you don't even know about. And they're doing a bunch of weird shit. You just never know. Not all secrets are made to be known. Some people, believe it or not, actually know how to keep secrets. Some people actually do. Like a secret to them could mean everything.
Willow says, and I think she's talking. Are you talking about the interview room from yesterday? That was great live stream. Chris is his last name McDonough? McDonough? Yeah, I really like that dude. It bothered me that the panel seemed like it couldn't be Richard Allen since he had no criminal background. No, you have to watch what they did all the way through it. They were going through the motions. They were looking at every angle. But if you listen to the very end, when they summarize, or come to their conclusion, they say basically what they're seeing is not a ritual, because if it was a ritual involving a lot of people, it would have been much more organized and apparent, right? If you're trying to communicate something, you have all this time and you have all these people to double check your work. Don't you think it would be much more clear? But it wasn't. Instead, you have, from an aerial view, after getting all the details about the crime scene, is what appears to be something rushed, an attempt to hide. And with all the facts that we know about the Delphi case, people coming across that bridge, it makes perfect sense that he would panic. Like, he probably thought he was going to jail for the rest of his life. And he could have started panicking right at about that 3:11 to 3:20 mark when he hears Derek German saying, Libby. He's like, holy crap. He's probably, sitting in the water right then, kind of ducked down. Like, what am I going to do? I can't leave one of my victims out here in the open. And I can't pick her up and carry her when she doesn't have any clothing on. So this dude's frantic at this point. Well, that part I added.
Thing. Mike Essery, Mr. Brooks was damn good. Yeah.
Julia, yeah. I mean, would I take him off of the table? No. Because there's just so much we don't know. Why did they choose that location? Why did Ron Logan all of a sudden decide he's going to leave? Like, hey, I wasn't here. Could that, it's most likely a coincidence. But there's going to be a whole lot that comes out in that trial. And even during the trial, you might have people who decide to start speaking. The more information that's released, maybe their confidence starts to build.
Was damn good. Very good flick. The fire, which started in the basement of the home, caused only superficial damage.
Yeah. I don't think gratitude is an intention.
Let's see. Sorry, I had to cough. Harris was the only adult at the home, and he told officers he had been the only.
Gail says prayer is a request directly to God, intervention through Jesus. Well, that's part of my prayer. It's more of like an acknowledgement. Like I acknowledge, that he gave his life and that you gave your son. And for that, I'm grateful. It's as simple as that.
Only other person there. The girl's mother was at work at the time, Riley said. I think she got in trouble as well. Riley said the family had moved to the community within the past
Me
year.
too.
And that police
True
had no
crime.
prior
I'm very
contact with the
curious about
family.
that.
Riley said he didn't know what, if any, weapons were found in the home. He referred further questions to Captain Melvin Williams, lead investigator in the case. A telephone message left for Williams on Monday afternoon was not immediately returned. Harris was being held in Woodbury County Jail under $2 million bond. Experts say the study of witchcraft is often misunderstood. Professor Helen A. Berger, author of 3 books on witches.
Let's go to this comment here by Joey. Sorry to interrupt that. Sadly, there are good and bad people, and the religion they follow has nothing to do with how a bad person acts. They may hide behind that religion, but the religions mean nothing. 100% in a lot of these cases. Joel Rifkin, he explained it best. And I think Gary Ridgway may have stated this as well. And they were both very similar killers. Strangulation, prostitutes, people that they would lie to themselves, they said. We would say, hey, these are the scum of the earth, and I'm doing the rest of the world a favor. But then he admitted, knowing damn well it was a lie, he said, but that's what I would do to each of them. Said that, and they would convince themselves of this. So it could be the very same with like a religion. Like they just convince themselves, they interpret it in an evil way. So in their mind, they're thinking, oh, God wants me to, perform a sacrifice, or I need to do this and my excuse is for God. So yeah, it's just an excuse.
Told the Sioux
To
City
do something
Journal
that they wanted to
she
do
doubted
anyway.
anyone claiming to have killed children while casting a spell as a true practitioner of witchcraft. This is not a group that participates normally in violence, but it is a group that doesn't have firm boundaries, which means that anyone can make a claim to be a member, she told the newspaper.
Hey, Vic, that's a good point. Vic says it's also misleading when they say his property. Like they were found on his property is huge. I mean, you could literally have a festival down there and he wouldn't even know.
So yeah, somebody who's
Not
already
really,
maybe
but
out
you
of
know
their
what I'm saying.
mind just happens to take interest.
Yeah, that's possible. Redfoot. I think that could be possible. Nothing really supports it, but I think it could be possible. It could be hidden in some of that
Apparently
information we don't know.
Sioux City. Sioux City, Iowa.
Conjuring the dead.
Here is a picture of the guy.
I'm not afraid of the dead. Conjure
Second
away.
He was arrested. And here's a close-up.
They're dead.
Voices with Ryan Reynolds. Studying for a psych degree, so I have some info about atypical development, conditions, and profiling, etc. If anyone ever interested, yeah, your input is definitely valued. Jump on in whenever. Let's see where to go next. I have a replay I kind of want to go over. This is Arliss Perry. What time is it? Damn. Maybe we'll do that last.
Oh yeah, I pull up the West Memphis Three in this replay towards the end. It's pretty good. Oh, that's interesting, Redfoot. Like, hey, can we use your property? Well, what is it for? Oh, we're gonna do a little ritual. Oh yeah, no big deal. Just clean up when you're done. I gotta go take care of some things, so I'll be back in a couple hours. Okay. And he's like, damn, when he finds out that there was a double homicide right there, he's like, damn, it was it was him, her, and I know exactly who did this.
Yeah, let's look at this one.
Could be, man. What's up, Kelly? Good to see you. David? What's up, Lisa?
Blue Moon Killer, man accused of ritualistic murders in Pensacola. Now, this was put out September 10th of 2022. Pensacola murder deemed the Blue Moon Killer was once thought to be a ritualistic killer. Now, officers know his attacks were much more personal attack. This is the story of Donald Hartung. On July 31st, 2015, the bodies of 3 people were found inside of their home in Pensacola, according to the Washington Post. Fonsal Smith, 77, John William Smith, 49, and Richard Thomas Smith, 49, were found 3 days after they were killed.
Either can I, Brown.
Fonsal was the mother of John and Richard. Deputies with the Escambia County Sheriff's Office went to the house for a welfare check after one Richard Smith's co-workers at the Department of Homeland Security reported him missing. Let's do this. Actually, let's finish this article first. Yeah, this one from A&E is a little more specific.
What's up, GP?
Let's try this one. A&E, true crime blog, stories, and news. Link to both of those will be in the description. We're just running out of time. Was witchcraft to blame for Florida's Blue Moon triple murder? And this is somewhere towards the middle, a witchcraft angle. About a week after the deaths, Sheriff Morgan told reporters that investigators have homed in on a person of interest who had an affinity for Wicca or witchcraft. Morgan said he believed that witchcraft may have been a motivating factor in the crime, noting the positioning of the bodies. Okay, did you guys notice that part? The positioning of the bodies. They were each in separate rooms, buried under large piles of clothing, and the fact that the killings had been committed only a few days prior to a blue moon, which in the second full moon of a calendar month. Experts in modern pagan religion and its subset Wicca denounce the assertion, quick to point out that ritual murder has no place in the nature-based religion. But while the sheriff's conclusions about witchcraft connection may have been hasty and tenuous in the eyes of Wiccan practitioners, the department had unambiguous success in homing in on their suspect. Donald Hartung Sr., 58 at the time, and Von Smith's third son, lived 3 miles from the murder scene and was the last known person to have seen his family members alive. Soon after his first
Hey, Sims.
interrogation,
Yeah, I don't think prayers are
investigators were
spells.
confident they had their killer.
I like how they try to say that.
And I
though.
actually grabbed a quick little clip, and you might have seen that in the trailer. Let's take a look.
Thing about Wiccan sacrifices. I don't know a thing about anything like that.
Who knows that you're Wiccan?
Nobody. I'm a solitary practitioner. Nobody knows that I'm a Wiccan.
If you know about the blue moon and all that kind of stuff, you do.
Well, I know about the blue moon. I know it's full moons, but I mean, it's been all over the radio.
Like I was explaining to you about the Wiccan ritual, they could cover them to keep them warm.
Okay, that's something else that kind of made me think of the Delphi case. Remember with Libby, they said they covered her with something. Now, could that be part of this? I'd never heard that before. And that might just be some shit the cop is making up. I don't know.
Keep them warm after they kill them.
I don't know nothing about no ritual like thing about Wiccan sacrifices. I don't know a thing about anything like that.
Who knows that you're Wiccan?
Hey, Bird Blue.
I'm a solitary practitioner. Nobody knows that I'm a Wiccan.
If you know about the blue moon and all that kind of stuff, you do.
Well, I know about the blue moon. I know it's full moons, but I mean, it's been all over the radio.
Like I was explaining to you about the Wiccan ritual, they could cover them to keep them warm after they kill them.
I don't know nothing about no ritual like.
And he could just be making some shit up. I don't know. Never heard anything like that. I hypothesized the tipster was a police officer that found a trophy on a POI. Pighead. Dang, that's gnarly. People do suck. Like, what the fuck? This guy's over here like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna use this ritual as an excuse. But he was like really doing a spell. So I was a little bit curious. So don't laugh at me. Let's take a look at this. Moon phase for Monday, February 13th, 2017. The current moon phase for the 13th is the waxing gibbous phase. On this day, the moon is 15.98 days old, 95% illuminated with a tilt of 8 degrees.
Jamie says the crime actually had nothing to do with Wicca and more to do with this guy getting written out of the will. Yeah, I think he was very pissed off about that. I remember reading about that, and he just happened to be Wiccan. Well, a lot of what I'm learning about these old pagan stories about ritual sacrifice, usually you would have to volunteer or you were being put to death. But it was always done in a ritualistic fashion. So maybe his intention was to kill because he was written out of the will, but he chose to do it at that very moment.
Approximate distance from the Earth to the moon, 386 kilometers, and the moon sign is Virgo. The moon phase for February 13th.
GP, are you cloning yourself? Yeah, we're taking a trip back in time. And it's funny because all these people that turned into trolls and haters, they're like leaving comments on here and they're all nice. That just goes to show, guys, be careful and leery of that plastic smile. You know, it's like that predator posing as a house pet type thing. You know, and a lot of these predators amongst these children do the same thing. Oh, I'll babysit. Yeah, you can go out. You guys go have a great time. You know, I'll watch the kids. You know, they always come with the overly nice. And I hate that because some people might just be really nice. But if you're overly nice to me when I meet you, I instantly I'm suspicious of you.
2017
just so
is
you
a
know.
waxing gibbous phase. This is the phase where the moon is more than 50% illuminated, but has not yet reached 100%. So, I mean, there doesn't seem to be anything interesting about that. But I thought I would look. I was just curious. All right.
What's the saying?
let's jump-
Voodoo only works if you believe in it. I think I saw that in that movie, The Skeleton Key. It's a good one. I don't know how accurate
right
that
into
is.
the West Memphis Three. Play a couple of these.
So now we're going to talk about the West Memphis Three case.
So like I'm the West Memphis boogeyman. Little kids will be looking under their bed before they go to bed. Damien might be under there.
Damien. See, why would he say that? That was kind of strange.
Was that he had attended some satanic cult type meetings. The animals had been killed and eaten by the members.
Have you ever participated in any type of human sacrifice?
No, I haven't.
Thanks,
He's
Steve.
got the motive. He's big enough that he can carry the boys there and throw them in.
Satanic panic. Yeah, that's a scary thing. But it's a scarier thing to convict someone with no evidence.
Odinism
Was
panic.
that he had attended some satanic cult type meetings. The animals had been
The Hare Krishna.
And Johnny Depp, the three convicts you're about to meet, had
Good point, Rain Dancer.
Yeah, let's watch
Good
this.
to see you. Red herring.
Oh, looks like we have a super chat. Hey, Indie Pam, thank you so much. Figured I'd give YouTube their share so you'd at least get
Thanks,
10.
Indy.
Awesome.
Sponsoring
Yeah,
the
I
live
guess
stream.
YouTube's okay.
Let's go to Freckled. If you hang balls, I mean ornaments, on Christmas trees, you are worshiping Babylonian fertility gods. Now, I'm pretty sure the tradition came from that, and that might be what you do on Christmas. But me, I just do it because that's how I grew up. And it most likely does come from a pagan religion. But we also read, the book of Matthew and things like that during Christmas. We don't think about fertility gods or anything like that. So yeah, I do believe a lot of this traditional stuff is definitely based in paganism, but it's also about, it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
They give us a platform. That was nice of you. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that.
and Johnny Depp,
It
the
is common
three
knowledge.
convicts you're about to meet, had both on their
But yet
side.
you keep putting it in
and
the
that
chat.
proved to be enough to set them free from prison today. But 18 years ago, when they were rebel teens in their town accused of a gruesome satanic
Hey,
murder
Bossy.
of 3 young boys, DNA tests weren't available,
Hey, let's go
and there
see
were no
what,
celebrities around to take up their cause. Here's our
let's see. It looks like we got a comment from Bossy. I remember her.
Yeah, I guess YouTube's okay. They give us a platform.
Let's get a blast from the past.
That was nice of you. Thank you so much. You didn't have to do that.
and Johnny Depp, the 3 convicts you're about to meet, had both on their side, and that proved to be enough to set them free from prison today. But 18 years ago, when they were rebel teens in their town accused of a gruesome satanic
Hey,
murder
Bossy.
of 3 young boys, DNA tests weren't available, and there were no celebrities around to take up
Mhm.
their cause. Here's our Jim Avila for our series, Crime and Punishment.
It's a case so stunning, so controversial, it became a major cause celeb, with actors and musicians like Johnny Depp, the Dixie Chicks' Natalie Maines, and Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder.
I'm also here to show my support for the West Memphis Three.
Speaking out for the defendants. 3 little Cub Scouts hogtied and left in an Arkansas ditch, and 3 teenagers enamored with satanic rituals arrested. It
In
made
the
headlines
comments.
all over the country, even becoming the subject of
Julia, question, and this goes for all you members. What is the best way for me to submit case suggestions for the members meeting? Well, every Sunday night or Monday morning, I put a post in the community tab for members. And it's for the members' choice, which we have on Wednesdays. So all you have to do is take part in that conversation, put your suggestions, and then come later tonight, we're going to go ahead and put a poll together. So through all those suggestions, we're going to narrow it down. We're going to have a conversation about it. Then we're going to create a poll. And then the 2 cases that win are the cases that we'll cover.
3 HBO documentaries called Paradise Lost.
We were like really the obvious choice because we stood out. I didn't kill these 3 little boys.
The celebrities fighting for the teens' release claimed the kids were railroaded because of their mullets, dark clothes, and fascination with the occult.
It makes me scared that, this could happen to any of us.
And it did happen to these 3
She's like, shit, I have a mullet.
young outcasts who came to be known as the West Memphis Three after their hometown along the Arkansas-Tennessee border. Damian Eccles, Jesse Miskelly, and
Good one,
Jason
old
Baldwin,
me.
teenagers then, in their mid-30s today, convicted in what many labeled a literal witch hunt, no physical evidence against
sure,
them,
Marbles.
imprisoned for nearly 2 decades.
I'm just tired. This has been going on for over 18 years.
In the beginning, we told nothing but the truth, that we were innocent, and they sent us to prison for the rest of our lives.
Well, Jesse Miskelly didn't say he was innocent. He actually confessed. And I believe that's the reason that they went to prison. So if you can figure out what's going on behind that, whether it was coerced or what, under duress, I think that's a very important conversation. That's big. That's a big part of the whole human factor, right? Did you manipulate this kid? Is this kid can he be manipulated? Is he prone to manipulation? Because really, that's what got them arrested. If he wouldn't have confessed to that, I don't think they would have ever gone to prison. Because that was always in the back of the mind of the jurors. I don't care if it was admissible or what. It was all over the media that this dude had confessed.
All right. I think we're going to have to do a little poll here. We'll close that. Yeah, I don't think that started on. Hold on.
That shit was funny. It's like, oh, because you have a mullet. No wonder why it's like important to you.
Do you love Gantt charts?
Sorry, Dixie Chicks.
Here's how.
And this is more out of curiosity.
Hey.
Cheeks, nobody's going to visit me no matter how much I decorate my house because there is no afterlife. It's a good and comforting thought, but it just doesn't exist in my opinion. Yeah, and what we believe has nothing to do with the supreme, actuality, things that we can't control, like destiny and eternity. It really doesn't matter what we believe because we don't have control over any of that. We could all be wrong, and it really wouldn't make a difference to a creator, right? But that's the great thing. That's this great gift that we've been given, this thought, this consciousness where we can talk about religion, where we can have confusion and things like that.
All right. Let me know. Remind me to check on that.
Earlier today, there was Damian Eccles.
But today, a bizarre final chapter with a stunning reversal. 4 years after ABC News first broke word of DNA evidence that could...
Redfoot says Miss Kelly operates at an 8-year-old level. That could have been how they got him to confess. Yeah, see, that could be possible. Or they could have really done what he said they did.
exonerate them, the West Memphis Three walked free.
The legal tangle
that has become
known as the West Memphis Three case is now finished.
So you think Damien and Jesse and what was the other one's name?
True Crime with Microwave says guilty.
You think they're guilty, huh?
I think they could be guilty. I don't know. But yeah, I think they could be guilty, guys.
Does anyone believe that if the state had even the slightest continuing conviction that they were guilty, that they would let these men free today?
It was 1990.
Well, why did they make them say that they were guilty? You know, such bullshit. Like the whole thing is bullshit. It's like, we're going to let you out, but you still have to admit that you're guilty. Like, so weird. Such a farce.
1993, the 3 second graders are found drowned in a ditch in West Memphis. It was before Arkansas could handle DNA testing, no physical evidence to link the teens to the crime.
They were the unusual kids in town, dressed in black. They listened to heavy metal music. They were goths before goths were fashionable.
Yeah.
And so they were easy targets.
But one of the teenagers, Jesse Miskelly, borderline mentally disabled with a documented low IQ, confessed after 4 hours of police interrogation, implicating his friends. He would later recant, but the town was already convinced the 3 devil-worshipping kids were guilty.
There seemed to be a whole scare in the community around a satanic panic.
I hope y'all really believe in your master, the Satan. He's not going to help you. To me, this place as I stand is like hell on earth.
All 3 would go to prison.
I believe in a recent report that I watched, a neighbor has come forward. A neighbor of Terry Hobbs, and said that she remembers the last time she saw the boys, they were right out front of Terry Hobbs's home, and he was outside. So he was like maybe 100 feet from them, and they were running towards him. And it was shortly after that that they went missing. And this is according to Terry Hobbs's neighbor. I didn't read this in a report. I watched her say it to a news station.
Damian Eccles, called the ringleader, was
Not
sentenced
guilty.
to death row, held in solitary confinement for a decade. Johnny Depp became so convinced of Eccles' innocence, he gave voice to his prison journal.
I can't remember what it's like to walk.
This guy's another creep, in my opinion.
Alfred, please.
Then, finally, new hope.
I get bad
New
vibes from
attorneys
Depp.
forced the state to perform DNA tests not available in 1993 on hair from the victims. The findings are dramatic. None of it is a match to the imprisoned West Memphis Three. And in fact, the DNA points in a different direction.
I don't think they would have let them walk.
All right. And that kind of reminds me also of the Delphi case, right? So I think they're going to have a hard time with that information. They're letting these guys go. And part of the argument is that some of the DNA left at the crime scene points at somebody else. Isn't that the same thing going on with Delphi?
Yes, old me.
Like, aren't we pretty sure that the DNA left at the crime scene points at somebody else?
I think that's what Nick believes, old me.
I mean, they're letting these guys go based off of that very same thing. So why wouldn't it be effective in this case?
Might be. They might let Richard Allen go. No DNA, right?
Free if they didn't understand that this would be a very powerful defense. Because
If it does not
only
fit, you
would the
must
prosecutors
acquit.
have a very difficult time linking these 3 to the crime,
Guilty.
the defense could very legitimately point to
Radar.
someone else, someone specific, and say it's more likely that he did it than my clients. It could very legitimately point to someone
Hey,
else, someone
Don't we know that
specific,
strategy?
and say
Satanic panic.
I hope y'all really.
I don't think they would have let them walk.
All right. And that kind of reminds me also of the Delphi.
None of it is a match.
And aren't we pretty sure that the DNA left at the crime scene points at? I mean, they're letting the
Walk free if they didn't understand that this would be a very powerful defense. Because not only would the prosecutors have a very difficult time linking these 3 to the crime,
guilty.
the defense could very legitimately point to
Radar.
someone else, someone specific, and say it's more likely that he did it than my clients. It could
Sounds
very
familiar.
legitimately point to someone else, someone specific, and say it's more likely that he did it than my clients.
Exactly. Why wouldn't that work in the Delphi case? Okay, is that Richard Allen?
You guys, tell me this is not a freaking premonition. Okay, let me rewind it one more time. I'm telling you, old me is psychic.
Would the prosecutors have a very difficult time linking these 3 to the crime?
Guilty.
The defense could very legitimately point to
Radar.
someone else, someone specific, and say it's more likely that he did it than my clients. It could very legitimately point to someone else, someone specific, and say it's more likely that he did it than my clients.
Exactly. Why wouldn't that work in the Delphi case? Okay, is that Richard Allen's DNA? No. Okay, well, whoever did this. Okay. And then that's why you have the prosecutor coming in going, oh, well, there's more involved.
Don't blow the investigation.
Which brings
for
us to today, in one of the most shocking and even confusing exonerations seen in the U.S. courtroom. The West Memphis Three would be allowed to walk out of prison, but prosecutors agreed to sign off on the deal only if the defendants would plead guilty.
Shout out to CN Red Flags for becoming a member. See you guys most
you
likely
been,
tomorrow.
CN? Haven't
I'll
seen
throw
you
out
lately.
a survey and see if you guys want to do maybe
Hey, what's up,
morning or
Grunge?
evening for members meeting.
Yeah, it is all they have, huh?
So shout out to you.
Guilty plea today? Guilty. I am pleading guilty.
Normally, a judge will
Guilty.
say, you can plead guilty, but you need to tell me about what you did. You need to say that you did it. This is different.
This is totally different. I mean, this is the defendant saying, almost with a wink and a
Exactly,
nod,
Rick,
yeah, well, plead guilty in quotes. But the reality is they're saying we didn't do it.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means, but we can still try to clear our names. The only difference is now we can do it from the outside instead of having to sit in prison and do it.
In fact, it was a deal the youngest of the West Memphis Three first resisted, wanting to fight for total exoneration, until reminded that his childhood friend Damien Eccles had been in solitary confinement for 10 years, and at one point was 3 weeks from execution back in 1994.
Thanks,
He
boss.
didn't want to take this deal in the beginning, and I recognize and acknowledge that he did do it almost entirely for me. Thank you. Mr. Braga.
Mm-hmm. For Nightline, Jim Avila, ABC News, New York.
And Johnny Depp, the
You
three.
never know, Marbles. You never know.
Crazy.
Is it the old sleuth?
Here's a
the new
little bit
sleuth?
of Damien Eccles. Not too long ago.
Wiccans or whatever umbrella you fall under is usually going to be women. So it's also in a way, it's sort of like two halves of a whole. If you look at it in that regard, you've got the masculine aspect of magic and a more feminine aspect of magic. That doesn't mean, only men can practice ceremonial magic and only women can practice witchcraft, anything like that. It just means
David says, if you ever listen to Miss Kelly's confession, you can literally see the cops making hand gestures and mouthing words in time with blank spots in the convo. I caught that when I was 10. I don't know about all that, but they definitely were showing him crime scene photos, giving him inside information that only the killer would know. So yeah, they screwed up doing that. And they could have asked him. I know they were apparently interviewing him for maybe 4 hours, and then the confession was only like 45 minutes or something like that. So they could have been asking him all these questions like, did you sexually assault these boys? Did you do this, do that? And then when it comes time to record, he's just repeating all those questions, in his own way. So that could be that human factor we were talking about earlier in the live stream.
that one. You know what? This is another thing that we should probably go into at one point when I'm talking about things that are masculine and feminine. It doesn't mean male and female. It's an entirely different thing, because a lot of these concepts don't have gender, which is something we'll get into with the angels also.
I'm familiar with that case, B. I've covered that case before.
Certain angels as he or him, and I refer to other ones as she or her. But in all actuality, angels are androgynous. They don't have sex organs, period. They don't need them because they don't exist on the material plane. The reason I give them those pronouns is because their energy is either a more masculine oriented or feminine oriented energy.
Yeah, that makes sense, Joey. Joey says they also made them have to say guilty, so they could not sue the shit out of them. Yeah, which they most likely would have. Another thing is, though, that I don't like, or that I think might be suspicious. I won't say that I don't like it, but it could be something kind of a way that Damien is manipulating the narrative. He keeps coming out on the public, and he keeps pushing forth these efforts to get the DNA out of the shoestrings, which I think they should, right? But from the very beginning, he knew that he would never have access to that again. They're never going to gain access to that. I don't think legally it's possible. It's a done deal, from my understanding. And I believe that he knew that. So it would be very smart for him, if he was guilty, to push that narrative knowing damn well they'll never test that DNA. But I think it's important that they do.
You know, just like when we're talking about the elements, fire and air being masculine, water and earth being feminine. It's the same way in planetary magic, angel magic, anything, all of it. It's divided into masculine and feminine energy types. Yin and yang is what it equates to in Oriental Asian philosophy.
Little bit from the mouth of
Yeah, guys, I think that was pretty much it for the replay. So I think we will be getting out of here. We'll hang out for another 5 minutes, see if anybody has anything to add. Freckle Joy, the book of Enoch says the angels would only share the secrets with women. That's why it's not in the Bible. Can't let women know they are powerful creatures. You're a very sexist person. I've noticed that. You definitely don't like men. You come off as prejudiced a little bit. Just saying. Let's try to tone that talk down a little bit if you could. I think if the people get together and demand them to test the evidence, they will have to. Well, it just takes somebody in power, maybe somebody with a good lawyer, a good law background, you know, somebody that could really take a look at the books and the way the law is written and try to figure out a way around it. That's why voting is so important in the United States. People take it for granted. The people that are making those kinds of decisions, even in true crime, are the people that are being voted in. Yeah. Very familiar, right? Kind of reminds you of the Delphi case. In over their head. Doug Carter, be patient with us. I've never stood before this. It's like, no, you should have hit the ground running. What do you mean be patient? That should always bother me. Be patient with us. No, bro. You should have been trained for this. And if you're not trained, you need to reach out and build the team of people who are trained. There's no patience here. What do you mean be patient? Yeah, so they were definitely in over their head, even all the way to the top. Jari, good to see you. No, it wasn't that comment, Freckle Joy. Don't do that. Don't play dumb with me. Don't make me go back and pull up a bunch of your comments. Just say, okay, I'll tone it down, and then we're good. I'm not coming against you. There's just certain personalities, when you disagree with them, they really turn nasty. So don't do that. Something I don't want around my channel. We'll argue. Yeah, that's a good point. Anna says the Delphi case is the next West Memphis Three. God, I hate thinking about that. I hate whatever courts eventually decide, people on social media will argue the decades. Yeah, this was like, I have a feeling that the West Memphis Three case was kind of like a victory for magic. Like it could have been like magic that got them off, right? You have Eddie Vedder, you have all these Hollywood people who practice the dark arts, right? And they're pushing to get these guys freed. And it worked. If it wasn't for HBO, I mean, think about it. When HBO came on, the whole soundtrack was Metallica. Come on now. So that was like, okay, maybe their sacrifice worked. And maybe if the Delphi case was some kind of weird ritual, like maybe we're up against some kind of darkness. I always had that feeling, right? That might be what draws people to these cases, like the West Memphis Three and the Delphi case. We can kind of sense in our soul, like we got to push back on that energy. Yeah, you're always stepping on thin ice with religion and politics. I don't recommend it really, especially in the workplace, because people get offended and triggered, and they can easily become your enemy. People don't know how to coexist. Very judgmental. That's why in my mind, if there is a creator out there, I think that we should be extremely grateful. But I don't really think he cares what our beliefs are. So there's a lot of parts of the Christian. That's why I don't believe the Bible. I believe it's a good map, but I believe it was created by men. And I think some people might need that Bible as a beacon, but I don't think it's necessary. Julia sponsoring today's live stream. Thank you. Thank you for participating. Yeah, religion and politics, touchy. Because you have some people who claim to be Christians and you tell them like, oh, I'm a pagan. They're like, oh, well, you're going to hell. Like, well, you're going to hell for judging them then. And you're not a real Christian. See, that's why I don't like throwing the word Christian around. Because to me, I think it is possible to be without sin. If you live a righteous life, you're without sin. To me, that's a Christian. So I believe I strive to be like that. I don't think it has to have anything to do with any organized religion or Bible thumping. It's more like a personal thing. Manna says the West Memphis Three did lose 18 years in prison, but they didn't exactly help their own case when it was happening. That wasn't time for bad attitudes. But even Damien Eccles says it in that documentary, The Paradise Lost. He says, when you're innocent, you never expect that they would actually be able to convict you. So it's kind of like you're just joking with everybody. Like, you're sitting back, you're like, yeah, like I study Aleister Crowley. So what, bro? Just in the back of your mind thinking, dude, I didn't do this. So there is absolutely no way. Well, that's my wife. She's looking for the sandpaper. She must be working on her project. Refurbishing. True crime and others. I'm totally with you, Sleuth. Sleuth agree the Bible is bullcrap made by. I don't think it's bullcrap. I think a lot of it is true. I think it's like real accounts. And I believe there is a lot of truth in there. But I think there's more truth if you just look within yourself. Everything you need to know is there. Sometimes people need a map. Sometimes people need a mentor or somebody just leading by example. Whatever it is, everything you need is inside. You were born with it. David says 14 hours. I don't know if it was that long. There's no way he's going to be there for 14 hours. I'm going to say somewhere between 4 and 8. 14 hours just seems like a bit much. I don't even think the cops would be there for 14 hours. Marbles is like, I have evil thoughts, but I don't want to go to prison. See, that's where the death penalty is effective. The Red Queen, good to see you. I agree with you, Sleuth, in that faith is personal. It's not for me to tell you or anyone else what to believe. Yeah. And that's also in the Bible. I think it's in the book of Matthew where he talks about it's better to pray, in a closet alone than to go out and boast about it. Like, look at me, I pray, look how close I am to God. Because really you're not praying to God at that point, right? If you're doing it for your ego or if you're doing it to boast. But when you pray in secret, in privacy, and you don't have to even talk about it, it's just your own, something that only you and God share, then it seems more real, right? Thank you, Jari. Yeah, guys, we're going to get out of here. I'm just trying to catch up on the chat. I appreciate everybody who was hanging out. I wanted to go live, but I got kind of busy going through my old streams. And you know me, if I'm doing something, hey, why the hell don't I just share it with my subscribers and people who want to watch my channel? So that's what we did, guys. We watched a replay. And it was a pretty good one, if you ask me. A lot of us knew kind of what was going on before any of this new information was coming out. Like Digital, who was in the comments, he was talking a lot about the Norse mythology and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely had a little bit of knowledge about it and have been theorizing about it way before the defense. And I even prophesized that the defense would do exactly that within that live stream. So that was interesting. I basically said their next move will be this. And sure enough, here comes the memorandum. And they did that, the very thing I said. Oh, that's scary, huh? Beach Fairy, what's up? How you doing? No, you're going to be replay crew. Times 2. Yeah, I think people just need to push the ego aside and just say, you know what, I'm not responsible for my own creation. Just admit that much. And then don't even attempt to grasp, like evolution and all that kind of stuff. Because how do you know that's not like part of part of the creation, It's man having this mind, and then here comes the ego, right? Well, if this was that, I would know because of this. When really we don't know shit about anything. We're talking heads. Womp, 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 womp. Yeah, virtue signaling. That shit bothers me. Look how good I am over here. Look what I've done. For me, it boils down to this. Actions speak louder than words. I don't like those personalities where they convince you of words of what they try to convince you of their accomplishments without really accomplishing anything. But they have the ability to create the illusion. It's more of a defense mechanism, I think, and then they wield it like a sword later in life. Yeah, it was interesting. Somebody brought up the Book of Enoch. Have you guys read the book called The Watchers? It's pretty good. Talk about how they brought Enoch up into the heavens and he was able to look down at Earth and see that it was a sphere. I always thought that was the reason it wasn't included in the Bible. Look at me, look at me, look how much I care. Look what I do for victims. Look. Yet that's all you do is flap at the gums. And I'm not trying to say like I do anything special, but I don't claim to, you know? What's up, Donna? What's up, Colette? All right, guys. That is all of my time. Shout out to you. Freckled, still love you. Yeah, I could have figured that. I'm sure that's why we clash. Charlotte, you are reaching out for information from different sources. Yep, always. All righty, guys. This is a great conversation. I wish I could hang out a little bit longer. I want to thank everybody for participating who made the live stream. Shout out to you. And replay crew, let us know what you think about this replay and anything. Once again, this was from March, earlier this year, before the defense memorandum. So it's just kind of like going back into the past and seeing where we were. And it looks like we covered a lot of this information. We made a couple premonitions about what the defense would do, and they did it. So that was cool. Shows that I'm not a complete moron, just a moron, but not completely. You know, right on the cusp. Have a good one, Lori. Melinda, hello. Welcome. Yeah, hopefully he can talk some sense into you. Come back from the dark side, Luke. Julianne, good to see you. I'm just curious. I'm a curious person. Thanks, Red Queen. Yeah, and if you guys want to go back to the actual live stream, I think it's just titled Ritualistic in Nature. It says it was streamed March 6th, but during the live stream, I say it's March 4th, which is very strange. Yeah, we're all wrong. And we're losing our humanity. It's like we lost our humanity and we were all wrong in the end. So the one thing we should do is at least hold on to our humanity if we're all going to end up wrong in the end. There's got to be a limit. Yep, especially in their traditions. All righty, guys. I was going to try to push it to the 2-hour mark, but I got to go. You guys take care. I'll see you tomorrow. And I'll see most of you members in the chat, in the community page on my channel. Take part in that conversation so we can have a good members-only live stream this Wednesday. And we can talk about the things that you guys really want to talk about. All right. Take care. Peace.